I'm Weldon Hurt, and as we head into cooler months, let us winterize your home or business or pets. If you need service or just have questions, call or text at 325-673-6700.
I don't know what to do. They're just going to get to go to klgd1069.com, listen to it. And somehow we got it to work last week. I have no idea.
I don't know.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, sports, life, and everything in between. As we keep rolling in the 7 o'clock hour, you can catch us on klgd1069.com. Listen to us anywhere in the world, and that's where you can get Texas Two-Step, all the things, all the shows that you got. Red Dirt, High Lonesome this weekend, and Jones in the morning, Monday through Thursday. But we were talking about the NBA, Josh, and as we were talking about it, the big debate that always comes with, and again, it came in on this week when LeBron passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the all-time scoring leader. He ended up, passing him, and then it immediately goes to LeBron, Michael, the greatest of all time. And then I also, as we were going to break, I was telling you why I think KD is similar to Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. And this is why I mean that. We'll get to the LeBron and Michael Jordan thing in a minute. But Josh, Kevin Durant's won 2 titles. But you know who he won them with? The Golden State Warriors. Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green. And he's won those. And everywhere else he's gone, now he's been injury prone. Obviously didn't do it at Oklahoma City. Hasn't done it at the New Jersey, now Brooklyn Nets. And is not, now he's going to have the opportunity to do it with Booker, Chris Paul. Can they do it in Phoenix? And I think he needs that. I think if he's got to find a way to win a title that is with, even if it's with another super team, if you will, where do you find that? How important is the titles, and does it matter how you win them?
Excuse me. Yeah, well, it matters how you win them, and they matter a lot in the NBA, for probably more so than any other position except for the quarterback on a football team. The just NBA players seem to be judged by how many rings they got. I don't always think that that's a fair thing. I don't think it's fair for quarterbacks, and I don't think it's fair for NBA players, because they're team sports. So you could be the best ever on a bad team and not win championships. That said, in basketball, it becomes easier, I guess, if you're that good, because basketball has the thinnest rosters of any professional sport. That's the sport that starting off and like little dribblers, like I'm watching my kids play. One good player on a team can be the reason that no one else can beat that team. And everybody else could be about the same.
Well, and I think as you get older, and a little dribbler, if the tallest kid on whichever team has that, normally dominates, or one. And then as you get older, if you have two good kids on a junior high team, it's really good. And then it just and the classification that you're in,
right?
That matters too.
It obviously makes a difference. But I'm saying that you don't need that many really good players to just set yourself apart. Now obviously when you get to high level college, NBA, everybody's really dadgum good, so it's harder to make that separation. But I think that this whole and I believe that's one of the big problems that people have with LeBron James. It's even before he started getting super political, he had a lot of detractors. I was kind of one of them, because he was chasing rings, and I get that, but he was kind of seen as one of those on the forefront of this super team phenomenon that has.
They started it with him, Bosh, and Wade.
Right. That has taken over the NBA, where these groups of free agents are going to band together and go join one of their buddies that's on this team, and then go from there. And I think that has cheapened that ring pursuit thing a little bit, like whereas he always gets compared to Jordan, and and some of that's generational. If you were, uh, I guess it's funny, and I don't know if this is like, as we've kidded around, like, well, back in my day, like, or that type of thing, but Jordan was pretty much universally loved and respected whenever we were junior high school, whenever he was at his peak. Like, um, there were not people that refused to go see Space Jam because Michael Jordan was in it. Does that make sense?
Oh, 100%.
Yet you fast forward to now, LeBron James, is kind of this generation's that, and you had Kobe kind of in the middle there, who had his own issues, but then LeBron James is in that same position, and instead of being universally loved, he's kind of like, yeah, and like, on one side of the coin he's very, very liked. On the other side, he's like despised, and LeBron,
right?
And Jordan didn't have that despised side.
No, but the thing about it. But so the reason I think Kevin Durant needs to find a way to win a title in Phoenix.
Oh, right. I
separate that from Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Back to the GOAT and whether or not who is. To me, there is not the reason Michael Jordan is still the greatest of all time. Yes, I'm generational. I understand that. But the guy went to 6 finals, never saw a game 7, made everybody around him better. And I still say to this day, the 2 titles that mattered to me for LeBron is the one he won in Cleveland. Because and to me, honestly, I was never a big LeBron fan, but I started thinking, you know what? He just helped lead the Cleveland Cavaliers to a championship against the Golden State Warriors. Wow.
But they also had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love on that team. I mean,
but I feel like he was the catalyst of all that.
Yeah. No, he was.
Now the Lakers championship, it was in the bubble. Some thought, it was a tough way to win and all that. But if Chris Bosh doesn't get a rebound and kick it out to Ray Allen, and Ray Allen knocks down the 3 to send it into overtime, and the Spurs lose Game 6, the Spurs are like the Rangers, had 0 chance to win Game 7.
Yeah.
0 chance to win Game 7. And Mad Dog Russo mentioned it this week on First Take. Jordan never let his team down. LeBron at times against the Mavs, there were times he didn't play very well, and he did cost them, or whatever you want to look at it. And so I still think Jordan is the greatest of all time. He is the GOAT. He could he have won 8 titles if he doesn't go play baseball? Who knows? But I will say this. LeBron is 38 years old, not playing in a league of 38 years olds.
Oh, no, it's pretty impressive.
He is impressive that he's 38 years old and still averaging over 30 points a game, playing at a level. Now, and again, I know some of you were working on the Facebook Live thing and sound, so hopefully you're good lip readers like on Seinfeld. But the longevity and the high level of play that LeBron's been able to do over this span of almost 20 years. And again, Josh, this guy who's now not a kid anymore, maybe Tiger Woods, but I don't think anybody had the pressure going into a professional league like LeBron did. ESPN was playing his high school games way before anybody thought high school games needed to be on television.
Yeah, they're all on TV now.
Because he was that good. And he went straight to, and at the first day of the job, if you will, as an 18-year-old, and what he's done now, you can take whatever side you want on it. It's kind of like those that don't like Tom Brady. What LeBron has done has been very impressive.
I will not argue that it is impressive, and I will not obviously argue against him being one of the greatest ever. But I think that unlike some others that you look at in the past, there is a flip side to that coin. Because of and I think it's led to why LeBron is such a divisive figure off the court, is you can say like, oh yeah, he had a lot of pressure early, he also was coddled from a very early age. You know, he never really had to face the pure adversity of, you know, the classic story of Michael Jordan working his way into the starting lineup, you know, getting cut and coming back, you know, all of that type of
but
stuff.
I think a lot of that you can't blame LeBron for being
but
born with that.
You can't blame him, but I don't know how well he actually handles adversity. You know, like, which maybe leads to what Russo was talking about as far as that goes. On the other hand, also you got to keep in mind, it's just where you talk about what he's done in his career. Very impressive. I mean, like, very impressive. So don't misunderstand. He got 4 extra years to try to score those points because he didn't go to college. When prior to the you know I guess it was just lost it.
I mean, Sean Kemp did that. There was a number of people.
Yeah, no, it's happened. But I'm saying prior to the fairly recent past, everyone went to college for you know at least 3 years, and before that it was 4 years. You know, that like back in Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's day, like everybody went to college for 4 years. You know, like it's just that has changed, and it allows people more time to build those, you know, build numbers. And then also, like, the game has changed to where guards get, like, the game is like guards dribble, guards shoot, not feed it to the post like it used to be. So
well,
like,
you can add the other that Wilt and Kareem were centers, and also you can look at it this way too. It's kind of like a lot of these people in the NFL get 16 games. Now they're 17
right,
games.
so they're going to add more.
But
stats.
You also can add the 3-point line to some of that benefit for LeBron too.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. It just, the game changed to allow him to score a whole lot more points than even Jordan.
And now the 7-footer doesn't go anywhere near the basket. The 7-footers, because of Dirk, the 7-footers now want to shoot threes and can handle the ball. And now you've got this phenomenal 7-footer that is shooting threes like he's shooting over, you know, trash cans.
Yeah, and it's just like, so there are, like I said, just flip sides to that coin. So I think if you're having that argument, you can say, well, yeah, but that's why I agree with you that Jordan is still better. I even would say that Kobe was better. You know, like,
well, and that's the thing that
people, and Kobe came out right out of high school also.
Now I think what they did, and again we're going to go to commercial. We're going to come back, because the other thing that came out of this debate that really got me thinking, and not, it's going to be tough for us to come up with one, is I do agree. I think now your greatest of all time, and the problem is Bill Russell won 11 titles and doesn't even get talked about.
And that is just like you get lost with age. You know,
so you've got Michael's number 1. I think LeBron's number 2, and then they start trying to figure out who falls number 3. A lot of people Kareem. But the other thing, we're going to go away from the NBA, but we're going to tie Tom Brady back into the next segment, is now where do you put LeBron in his short stint of the greatest Lakers of all time? Anyway, we'll talk about that. But when we come back, Tom Brady, in his briefs, made more news than maybe even the NBA. But also, there's GOAT in golf, there's GOAT in basketball, but I don't think we have a GOAT in football debate. We'll talk about that right after this.
Tab needs one more thing.
Chill.
It's an easy thing to do. Just
I also
sound is up. Okay. So sound is good. We're going to stay with you. Feel free to send comments. I know a lot of you put LeBron as a lot of our listeners are going to be MJ people. I totally understand that, and I agree. But anyway, we'll be back right after.
Have you enjoyed the Potosi Live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the best atmospheres around, with amazing food, great drinks, live music, TVs to watch your favorite sporting events. The Potosi Live team will make sure you have an experience that you're going to tell your friends about. Check out PotosiLive.com or go like them at Potosi Live on Facebook for their upcoming live music and ticket events. Head out to Potosi at 897 FM 1750 for the Potosi Live experience.
When it comes to finding the right vehicle for you, there's no better place than Lawrence Hall of Abilene. For over 33 years, Lawrence Hall of Abilene has been the place to find the best GMC, Buick, and Chevy. And And that is still true today, with great products and great service too. So the next time you need a new car, truck, or SUV, come see us or visit us online at LawrenceHallOfAbilene.tx.com. Voted Abilene's best new car dealer for over 28 years by you, our customers.
Hello, Abilene and the Big Country. Keith Glover here with Disability Resources Incorporated. I'm here to let you know about our document destruction and paper shredding business. Our services include routine pickup, purges, or we accept drop-offs at our state-of-the-art, safe, and secure facility. Our folks at DRI, or better known as the DRI Shredders, are here to assist and serve you in the destruction of your most private documents or just those annoying stacks of boxes you've had piled up over the years. Give us a call at 325-232-6868 or come on out and see us at 3602 North Clapp Street. You'll be glad you did, and I know the DRI Shredders will too.
Hi, I'm Sharon Riley. Here in Abilene, folks have lots of options for eating out, from large chains to locally owned mom and pops like us. I want you to know we really appreciate your business and are always striving for wonderful food, service, and prices. So we listen to you and have updated our menu, bringing back old favorites like nachos and fajitas and adding more small plates for the light appetite. So come see us. I want to hear you say, yum, yum.
Raise your hand if you run your electric co-op. Come on, let's see them. Keep one hand on the wheel, please, driver. Let's go, passenger side, hand up. You too, backseat. We see you back there. In fact, everyone should have a hand up, because as co-op members, we all have a say in how the co-op is run. Learn more about the power of your co-op membership at togetherwesave.com.
Big Country Electric Cooperative, your local member-owned electric co-op. Offices in Stanford, Roby, Snyder, and at bigcountry.coop.
Pest Patrol, Pest Patrol, Pest Patrol. Get a big bright yellow truck.
Hey, put your headphones on.
Well and hurt, and we've been protecting families just like
Is
yours
it staticky in your ear?
for 30 years. If you have pest issues, let our family help yours. For service or questions, call or text at 325-673-6700.
A big bright yellow truck coming to you.
Does that mess up that?
No.
At First Bank and Trust, our story started in 1996 and it continues because of you, our customers, our communities, and our neighbors. We are proud to be a small part of your success. But where does your story start? Where do you want to go? Whether starting a business, saving for the future, or launching your ideas to the next level, we want to help you take your first steps towards something big. Call or email one of our bankers today. At First Bank and Trust, we see potential, ideas, innovation, growth everywhere.
Member FDIC and Equal Housing Lender.
Did you sleep around here? What's on the record? What's up? I was only kidding. Jerusalem, ain't it? Of course you know this means war.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Life and everything in between. You hear Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny, getting ready to promote that movie that Josh had talked about, Space Jam, as one of the top Super Bowl commercials of all time. Again, Super Bowl week been taken over a lot by the NBA, and but Super Bowl is coming. We'll talk a lot more Super Bowl in the 8 o'clock hour. Of course, we'll have Misty's bag. But Josh, Super Bowl commercials are a big deal, and the Doritos one where they shake the box and Old Man Rivers in there. I mean, it's just good stuff. And so we'll talk about that. But Space Jam, and very fitting with the Space Jam because we were talking about the greatest of all time. And Jordan is for us. And all this debate really got me thinking. And so I was sitting there this week and waiting on luggage and flying and all those things, and was started to think about, because Tom Brady, his sand is up for like it's in the hundreds, and not hundreds, but it's almost to $100,000 of sand of when he retired 2 weeks ago. But it made me think, and then this week with LeBron and LeBron passing Kareem, and then LeBron MJ talk. But Josh, when it comes to the greatest of all time, it's great for sports radio to talk. And one that we always talk about is the MJ and Michael, or MJ and LeBron. The other one is Jack Nicklaus and Tiger Woods.
Right.
The other two that you really kind of debate, there is a baseball one, Barry Bonds, and you figure it out. But there's really, going back to Tom Brady, when you say the greatest quarterbacks of all time, and Tom Brady's number one, I think number two is not only so far away from what number one is, that it's almost impossible to come up with, because even in the basketball one, you're going to say LeBron, Kareem, and that's really about it. Some people try to throw Kobe or Bill Russell, but really that's it. In golf, when it goes Jack and Tiger, that's it. But when you start talking about the greatest quarterback of all time, trying to designate number two, I think it's impossible. Because I don't think it would be hard to get 6 people. I don't know why I picked 6. 6 people and say, who's your number two? And I don't know if you would get 6. You might get 6 totally different answers for that number two.
Well, you could, and that's and I'm sure if you ask enough people, you get some different answers for number one, because.
But they're number one. If you try to convince that it's not Tom Brady, they're the same group that says Cooper Rush should be playing in front of that.
Oh, they're probably mouth breathers. You're right, but I guess my thing is when you think about these, there's all sorts of qualifications that you can put on, like what your judgment of that standard is. Now, obviously, if you're saying wins the Super Bowl, then there's no one in the same realm, like there's not. But if your judgment is like we're down by 6 and there's a minute 58 left, who do you want your quarterback to be? Like prime of their career, who do you want your quarterback to be? Is that still Tom Brady? I mean, there's a shot that it is. It does become Joe Montana. Like maybe you like Elway in that position. There's like. So you know what I'm saying? I mean, I think Aaron Rodgers, if they're playing the Cowboys and they're down by 6, you might as well just pack your bags and go home. Lost. But so there's different criteria, I guess you can judge, and that's why when we talk about basketball and the best ever, and you throw Bill Russell, Kareem, Shaq in the same conversation as Jordan, LeBron, Kobe, those are 2 totally different positions that I don't think you could say which one actually is better than the other, because they have different value and different methods of making your team better. So some can create scores on their own, some need someone to feed them the ball, but some so it's like you could say, well, this is better because of that. So I mean, it's hard to say. Baseball, you get into like who's the best in that. People are judging eras and what was going on in different eras. They cover a lot of territory. There's pitchers and there's hitters, which are completely non-compatible. So I mean, so there's a doubt. I'm just saying that, like, you might say definitively Tom Brady's the best, and then someone could say, well, but in this, I think this guy's the best.
Well, and I think you take in all that. I still think it would be almost like punt, pass, and kick, or drive, chip, and putt. All 3 of those, if you make it to Augusta National, one might have dominated. You might have got 10 points when driving, 8 with chipping, and 7 with putting. But all 3 of those you did well in, one you were better at.
Mm-hmm.
I think in this situation, if it's leadership, I want Tom Brady. But even all that, I think when you put all those categories together, what you mentioned, 2-minute drill, need to win a game, need to bring people on with me, be a leader, all those things, I still think Tom Brady's number 1. Number 2, now.
But see, people would argue that, you said like the Brady and Belichick thing. There are people who would argue with you that Brady couldn't have done it without Belichick, and Belichick, managing the defense and making them so,
But Tom went south and won one without Belichick.
Oh, and he won one. Yeah. How many does he win if he's never with Belichick? Do we ever even know who he is if it's not for Belichick?
Well, and
I'm just saying, like you saying such a definitive statement as everyone has Tom Brady first. I don't think that's true.
Well.
Wow, what did I walk in on?
Well, you walked on Josh being 100% wrong. He gets one photo off in the Karen Canyon.
Yeah.
At 7:42, Josh is wrong. Hey, feel free, send us text 325-660-0406 or at the Hodge Pack. Tweet us. Is Josh wrong on that Tom Brady. I think the gap for number 2 is so huge. I think because there's 12 people, and now we're going to talk about this in the 8 o'clock hour. Which quarterback has the most pressure in this week's Super Bowl? There are 12 quarterbacks that have won multiple Super Bowls. That's it. And so when you think about even though people may think he's a goofy dude, Eli Manning has done something and is only one of 12 that have won multiple Super Bowls.
Which I think is A1. Ding, my argument. Winning Super Bowl doesn't make you better.
But when you win 7 of them.
No. I'm just saying that you can't say, well, he won 7 Super Bowls. He's automatically the greatest ever. You can't say that. Eli Manning won 2, and I wouldn't have traded him for Tony Romo straight up.
But you look at Jack and Tiger, 18 and 15 majors.
That's you yourself. If you can go out and win a major, that is you. You don't need any help from anybody else. You don't need David Tyree accidentally catching the ball off the top of your helmet.
But your majors is what defines. That's the reason nobody else is in the debate with Jack and Tiger.
I'm not arguing that. If Tom Brady was the only player on the team and he won 7 Super Bowls, and I'd say, yeah, no one's better than him.
Why do you automatically say that MJ's better than LeBron?
Because he's just better. Watch what he did with his teams, because it's a team sport, versus jumping around to this team looks better over here. I might go play for them for a while. I'll win a ring. Cleveland's got some good players now. I'll go back there. I'll bring it back to my hometown.
Right, so let me ask you this: but do you think, maybe not as definitely as I do you think Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time?
Yes, but that's not my argument.
So now, who do you think? To me, the argument and the struggle is Mount Rushmore is maybe easier because you can find 3. But who's number 2? I think that's the tough part. Now, for me, it goes back generationally. I'm going to say Joe Montana. But then again, a group of guys last night, they're like, well, where does Johnny Unitas and Bart Starr fall into the group of the best quarterbacks of all time?
But that's exactly what I was talking about when you get things that are generational, because you can look at different things. If winning the Super Bowl is your criteria, then that's, you got the 12 names there. You got to take one of those 2 as your next one. But that doesn't necessarily have to be the criteria, because you could. And people will say this about a Phillip Rivers, let's say, or even let's say even one that I think is worse. The one that I think Phillip Rivers is a Hall of Fame quarterback. Let's go to Matt Ryan. All right, if you look at where Matt Ryan is on the all-time stats of quarterbacking, and this is just me going from memory. I haven't memorized Football Reference yet, but he's in the top 10 in probably every completions,
in the
yards,
era of offense,
touchdowns. Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So you got then, if you just go off of that, you'd go back in the day and say, well, all these guys sucked. Well, no, they just played a different style of a football game. So it's hard to make that comparison.
If you pulled a share and turned back time, somebody could beat Emmett's record. But because the way running backs and the way offenses ran in the state of the league, Emmitt Smith's record, I do believe, will never be broken.
And see, that's one of those things that, I agree with that. The era of running back is over for now. Now something might happen and change that, and it might go back the other way. Now teams are several deep at wide receiver and stuff like that. We're used to that wasn't the case.
The reason the running back thing won't ever change is because they treat them like cars. Once there's so many miles on them, we're not only changing the tires, we're changing the car, and we're going to get a younger model, and we're going to upgrade that and move on. Now, we've got about a minute. So do you think Tom Brady's the greatest?
Well, obviously I walked in late on this heated debate. I was like, all right, we're getting going this morning. So are you saying, Ryan, that your criteria is Super Bowl appearances /
No,
wins,
I think what he's done in the.
Because for me it is. For me, I would say that Tom Brady is the GOAT. So, my reasoning for that is Super Bowl appearances and how many rings he's gotten.
Well, I do think, and to take into Josh's twist, if Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll or whoever okayed the play to be called to throw the ball is vetoed and they hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch, that is one less Super Bowl that Brady wins, because Marshawn Lynch, if you hand him the ball 4 times, is walking in the end zone.
And then you put dumpster fire Wilson as he's the greatest of all time. He won 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, no.
No, and I think he won 2, but I don't think so. And don't get me wrong, Adam Vinatieri had to make a couple of field goals for this to take place.
Yeah, team sport.
And I think the way
so now y'all are arguing for my point. Thank you very much. I've got 2 more people on my side.
I do think that he is the greatest. But my question is, and tell you what, we're going to go to commercial because we need to open up our bag. We've got a lot more football. Your Super Bowl commercial favorites. Tom Brady's number 1. But, hey, feel free, at the Hodge Pack, tell us who number 2 is. Go to our Twitter, at the Hodge Pack. Who's number 2? It's not Peyton Manning, but you might think it is. Some of you may even think it's Aaron Rodgers. Whoever you think it is, I think it's Joe Montana. We'll be back right after this.
Miller Lite is a light beer brewed for people who love the taste of beer.
I love the face that Hodge makes when I say something that I argue at this point. He's like,
I know. I walked in, I was like, well, all right, we're getting started this morning.
96 calorie,
So
3.2 carb love letter to beer lovers who know that the best part of beer is the beer part. Miller Lite, it's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2022 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin beer.
Have you enjoyed the Potosi Live experience yet? If not, you're missing one of the best atmospheres around, with amazing food, great drinks, live music, TVs to watch your favorite sporting events. The Potosi Live team will make sure you have an experience that you're going to tell your friends about. Check out PotosiLive.com or go like my Potosi Live on Facebook for upcoming live music and sporting events. Head out to Potosi at 897 FM 1750 for the Potosi Live experience.
When it comes to finding the right vehicle for you, there's no better place than Lawrence Hall Athletic.
going back to my
For 33 years, Lawrence Hall Athletic has been the place to find the best for Tennessee Buick and Chevy. And that is still true today. With great products and great service too. So the next time you need a new car, truck, or SUV, come see us.
He was in the best place, combination of knowing how to play the game and physical ability. And put that against Joe Montana, John Elway, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning. Who are you giving the ball to? You've got those 5 guys on your team.
Who are your 5?
Just all of them in their prime, wherever that is, because sometimes not physical prime might be
Need a touchdown to win.
physical prime might be past, but your ability to see the field and know what's going on might be, so like that's kind of that's even another thing. You lose a step physically, but know how to play the game so good that you're actually better than you when you were like in your best shape.
So you're under 2 minutes.
You got to win this ball game.
And you need a touchdown.
And you've got on your bench Joe Montana, John Elway, Drew Brees, Peyton Manning, or Tom Brady. Who are you putting in the game?
And save money. So I guess
You're the coach. You got to put one of those guys in the game. I don't think that there's a wrong answer.
Learn more about the power.
I'll tell you the one that ended up leading them to a Super Bowl victory, and I think he should be on that list.
Offices in Stanford, Roby, Snyder, and
which-
BigCountry.com.
Hello, Abilene and the Big
What list are
Country.
you
Keith
looking at?
Glover here with
It's
Disability
not
Resources
been updated.
Incorporated. I'm
It's
here to
not
let
been
you know
updated
about our
because he's at
document
7.
construction and paper shredding.
But,
Our
Big
services
Ben had a big.
Roethlisberger could be another one that you're talking about. I don't put him in that same category in my mind. That's just like.
But I remember him leading them against Antonio, my cousin Santonio, in the end zone to beat the
private
Cardinals.
or just those annoying stacks of boxes you've had piled up over the years. Give us a call at
Well, sure, you give Kurt Warner on that. Kurt Warner doesn't have the.
Come on out
On
and
one.
see us at 3602
Like Kurt Warner doesn't have a
North
number
White
of
Street. You'll be
those
glad you did.
stats
And I know
because
DRI
he literally just
will
didn't go to
too.
a good college and like didn't play football for the first half of his like athletic career. I mean, like he was not in the NFL starting. He's one of those guys. And Tom Brady's the same way. He's having sooner than Tom Brady. Kurt Warner had to get lucky with this, like several dominoes falling to even get to start. When Trent Green got hurt.
Cool thing happening in our area. Around 11:35, your events calendar with me, JB, right here on 106.9 The Country Jack.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between. 1992, Josh. 1992, Cindy Crawford coming in hot and all the things. Again, there you go.
I don't know what you just did, but the earphones weren't playing your voice, and then suddenly it was way too loud. Which people would probably just say, yes.
Coming in hot. Welcome back to the Hodge Pack Sports Live and everything in between as we keep rolling in our 7 o'clock hour. We've a lot of fun stuff. We got some Twitter going on. Maybe we got some people telling us why you're wrong, Josh. We'll read that in a moment. But again, we will a lot of Super Bowl talk in the second half.
Someone wants to be humbled by knowing that they were wrong, then go ahead and reply to that.
We will. And so Tom Brady, number one, still figuring out number two and trying to figure out if Tom Brady. I think the debate's not that Tom Brady's number one. I think the debate is on how you establish the greatness of those people. And so,
but the more I think about it, the more I think that like the hypothetical that I brought up, I don't know that you would just automatically put Tom Brady as number one. And I think that's what started me to getting a little fired up about it, because you can't just automatically put him there. I mean, like, you can just, I don't know, put it as Hodges number one, but just the unequivocal number one ever? Nah.
Fuzzy Wuzzy could be number one.
Yes, it could.
You never know.
And when it comes to Care Bears, Fuzzy Wuzzy could be it. But yes, Tom Brady, the best quarterback, greatest quarterback of all time. Misty, you came in on the heated topics there. Get your tea to go and.
Yep, I'm ready.
Dress for success today, the black blazer. And
I know. I mean, look at me, casual Friday.
Yeah, it's casual Friday.
I know it's not, but you know,
cold
here I
and
am
rainy outside
in all my glory.
All right, so Misty, it's not going to be. I'm jamming out. What do you got?
Okay, Big Baller 14.
Big Baller.
Shot caller.
20 inch, yes. Surprisingly, it is a little jingle jangle here. So,
all right.
Big Baller 14 says, you're auditioning for American Idol. Give your best lyric of what you're singing by actually singing a snippet, and Misty will let you know if you're going to Hollywood.
Oh, jeez.
So did Big Baller give their name?
No.
I don't think you need to give their name.
No, Big Baller 14.
I'm just going to eat milk.
Hopefully they're 14 years old or born in 2014.
Yeah, we would love to have young listeners. We appreciate young listeners on the way to school.
They're like, I don't even know who Michael Jordan
So you need a song?
I guess whatever song you would audition with, you need a little line that you are going to audition for me. And I'm the new Katy Perry.
Am I one of those? My mama said I was good types. So like,
I'm about to tell you.
Yeah. Am I a ratings getter because you're terrible? So this is kind of. I mean, I would. You know as well as I do. I'd probably break out in something like this.
Now you got to sing.
Oh, I can. I karaoke this past week.
Oh,
I spent last night in the arms of a girl in Louisiana. Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah.
Wow. Pretty
All right, you're up, Josh. Now it's not fair. It's not fair because Josh leads worship and is part of the worship team. Do you wear skinny jeans like other worship leaders?
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I wear flip flops with them too.
Okay, there you go. Shout out to yes or no. Yes or no for those that are curious on. Well, we'll answer the worship leader stuff later. So
I don't even own a pair of flip flops, much less wear them to church.
I know. I'm trying to picture your big foot with a flip flop. Like it would look like skis.
Ironically, that's what the people thought when they were taking pictures of him at the Grand Canyon, that they found Bigfoot. Hey, Sasquatch does exist.
He does exist.
I like standing next to Josh because I feel makes me feel good about me.
I mean, how many people do you stand next to? Do you feel real tall?
I
just like how Misty, like, man, I'm so glad to finally be around giants because normally I'm around short people all the time, and I'm the big one.
This big dumb goofy dude.
I don't know.
I think you're just trying to help Josh find a way to avoid singing.
Oh, again, it's not fair. I don't know what song I would sing. Like, You know what popped into my head though, and I don't even know that I could.
Besides
pull
shot
this off.
collar.
Please,
well, that
tell
did
us what
pop
popped in your head.
Gotta get ready for this.
The pressure.
It is pressure. I don't know what like pitch to start with, so I'm gonna like a, and I will always love you.
For anybody now based on that, and again, if you drove off the side of the road, we apologize. Or if your sleeping kid was asleep on the way to daycare.
Now their dog's howling.
No.
That made it even better.
Again, the way that you can know that you're listening to that is KOG1069.com. You can listen to that anywhere in the world. And if the glass in your office shattered, Dolly, that was not Dolly, that was not Whitney.
I know it sounded just like her
It
though.
did. I was confused for a minute.
Yeah. So Big Baller 14.
Oh my.
14. So all right.
Maybe that's a lucky
So-
number. I don't know.
I don't know.
Born. I don't know.
I do. That is a funny thought, but I do like when people send emails. You see a random. A lot of times you just see their name. You don't actually see their email address, but when you read it, you're like, where did they come up with that? You know, and it's like generally like some combination of their birthday or some lucky number or something. But it's like sometimes I'm just like, what?
I know. And back in the day, that was like a thing, right? You would do something like Big Baller 14.
Yeah.
Now it's just like your name.
Yeah.
You know.
You need a new like.
Fuzzy.wuzzy,
Yeah.
at gmail.com. It's
Well,
just your name.
Well,
Jingle jangle.
but here's the deal. Some
2023.
people they created that email, whatever that is, probably in college,
Yes.
and knew how big of a pain it is to change it, so they just stuck with it.
Yeah. Well, and that's why they you always hear like for professional emails, make sure you don't
Well, yeah, can you imagine you're applying for a job and it's like big, sexy, whatever, 2023.
Well,
you're
obviously
like, oh.
you want to interview that person.
I will interview that person. I just don't know if I'm going to hire them unless,
And then when they come in, you're neither. You're not big and you're not sexy.
That's a
And
fail.
and
Move
it's
on.
unfortunate. So, what would your song be?
Oh, man. I think I would do Ice, Ice, Baby. Bum, 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 bum.
Yeah, you're not going to Hollywood.
Yeah,
Josh,
I don't even think your mama said you were good.
Yeah.
My mom said,
Now we
or
got.
Shania Twain, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Shania
Even
Twain.
when I'm ugly, still better love me. There you go.
That's a good one.
That was
sounded
better.
a little-
That was better.
A little twang.
Well,
Yeah.
you're in luck. We're gonna go to commercial. YouTube, you're gonna get a whole rendition.
And we just lost some listeners. Thanks, Big Baller.
Why am I
14.
listening to this? Scan.
Yeah. It's not even a Whitney Houston version.
I mean, Josh, you killed it.
But
You went for
but I'm
it.
gonna tell you, and again, we've got a little bit of time before we kick off the 8 o'clock hour.
It is 8 o'clock.
So we went to a place and there was karaoke going, and it cracks me up that people, like, to me, I think when it's karaoke, you pick a song that people enjoy and it engages the crowd.
You got to make a fool of yourself or it's not good.
But it blows my mind on how many people pick a song that's a slow one because they do feel like
They've got
now
it.
if you can sing, like there was a guy Victorious, I believe is his name, works for Walmart. He sang All of Me by John Legend.
Love
Nailed
that
it
song.
because he could sing.
John Legend, love him.
And then the other funny part was when the night was over and the karaoke guy was, instead of wrapping up, he closes the show. And he closed. I wish I remember the song because he got into it so good and like was jamming it out and thought, like pointing to like, I think he thought people were going to storm the stage. They didn't. But
I
karaoke.
almost stormed Josh. I mean,
Yeah,
for a
it
second, it was like, hold me back.
And so we're gonna allow Misty to storm Josh. We're gonna let those on YouTube on YouTube continue to watch. When we come back, Super Bowl, it's here. NBA behind us. Awards were given out last night, and I'm gonna tell you why we've got the right quarterback playing in Dallas. We'll be back right after this.
Right. Whoa, that's loud. Why do you keep blowing out my eardrums?
I didn't realize when I said I'm going to storm. That may have not been appropriate, but it's fine. I didn't mean it like that.
Made me make a funny face.
And then Josh was like, we're going to let Missy storm you. I was like, oh my.
Greg said you were high pitching so loud you could cut a chicken in half 50 yards away.
Like my stomach, I almost peed. Like,
I was like, are
honestly.
you paying me back for the headphones because you're winning?
Literally, from my vantage point, he goes. And then
No,
I had to get
hey,
some power.
no.
getting ready
To
for
get to
it.
that pitch,
No.
I had to get some power.
The good thing is that he pointed like I was the one in the audience.
I know. Storm, you better storm Josh.
No, no.
It was so funny.
Y'all are welcome. Y'all
I
are
was
welcome.
dying, like, because I could see him like prepping. That was great. Thank you, Big Baller 14, for a great question.
Power of your co-op membership at togetherwesave.com.
Oh my God.
Your local member
Hilarious.
offices in Stanford, Roby, Snyder, and at Big
What are you looking for?
Different Super
Have
Bowl
you enjoyed
commercials.
the Toasty Live
Do
experience
the
yet?
Budweiser
If not,
frogs.
you're
That's one of
missing
my
the best atmosphere.
Well, the only
around, with
negative is
amazing food,
Oh, yeah,
great
we're-
drinks, live
Uh-huh.
music,
Yeah.
TVs to watch your favorite
Gotcha.
sporting
Hey, but
events.
look what
The
he's
Toasty Live team will make sure
got
you
rolling
have an
across.
experience
I have to
that you
come over
can
here.
tell your
I
friends
literally
about. Check
can't
out
see.
PotosiLive.com or go like them at
Oh, that's
Potosi Live
cute.
on
Appreciate
Facebook.
that.
Upcoming live music and ticketed events.
That's why I wear
Head
a
out to
hat.
Potosi at 897
I
FM
should wear a hat.
1750 for
Got
the Potosi
Um,
Live experience.
You've got what you name that?
At least you just own
Larry.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Larry needs to go.
Yeah.
But, hey, everybody has that
It's
your
very
hair.
similar to that chick's hair.
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, my hair looks better than hers.
It's similar. He didn't say identical. He didn't say copy and paste.
Okay, just making sure.
All right,
Yours
hey,
is better than hers.
Thank you.
Josh, do you think we could, if there's like a coat rack of some sort, to throw over there and get another one of those and put
Get another one of what?
that banner and have banners behind y'all too?
Yeah.
I mean, we could probably open this and drape it.
You could get. Yeah, that make those racks that you.
Yeah, or do we want to just try this? Well, it opens up. It's like two, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. But yeah, there definitely needs to be something because this is.
Yeah.
But one of the, you see them at all the like trade shows and stuff you go to.
Yeah,
you have
yeah.
That rack that just
Yes.
like.
Mhm. Like, or a Business Expo or something like
Yeah.
We have one for.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like a step and repeat.
Kyle, stealing Kyle.
God, that was so funny, Josh. That may have been the best thing you've ever done on the show.
So get your game skills down, man. You're gonna have your hands full once I pick up the controller.
Put your hands on my mama. Put your hands on my Dorito.
Welcome back to the Hodge Pack, Sports Life, and everything in between. Doritos, by far, is one of those advertisement folks that are going to spend a lot of money for 30 seconds. Doritos, you'll have somebody with a car, horses, and Super Bowl commercials. They're kind of the thing. But the other thing is we get ready for Super Bowl 57 is it reminds me of Black Friday. It's like, why are you sending those out now? Like, there used to be a suspense for it. You could tell they're leading up to it. One, again, we appreciate Reed Beverage. Miller Lite and Coors Light have something going in of like a DraftKings thing that's coming up this week. And so Super Bowl commercials, really back in the day, Super Bowl commercials saved the Super Bowl because there's so many times Super Bowls that got out of hand. And so it was hard to watch them. And so hopefully this week we'll have a good one. But last night, Misty and Josh, they gave out some awards last night for the NFL. Again, Super Bowl this Sunday. We'll talk more about that. But last night, the MVP went to Patrick Mahomes. Jalen Hurts finished second. I felt like they made the right choice. I think it was a no-brainer on Patrick Mahomes being the MVP and Jalen Hurts being second. And of course, I think Patrick Mahomes totally deserved that last night.
Oh, easily. I mean, the guy can do all the things, even on one leg. So he is definitely the MVP. I mean, throughout the season before we argued about, Josh Allen being up there, Mahomes, Burrow. I mean, there's several, but yes, they got it right. He absolutely deserved that award.
I can't argue with it, but I wouldn't have been like outraged if Burrow won per se.
Sure.
Watching what Jalen Hurts has done, even though I've been a anti-Hurts guy all year and would have been kind of flummoxed if he would have won the MVP just because I'm like, I'm tired of it. But obviously Philly has turned stuff around, and I think it's a combination of Hurts and his coaching staff, but finding what makes things work for him, and and so what Philly has done, even though I thought they were a mirage all year, I think. I do still, to defend my own opinion on that, I do think they were kind of more mirage, and they kept just getting better and better.
Yeah, the momentum each week.
Because when they were, I guess, 7-0 at one point, we were looking at it, and you looked at who they played, and it was like a bag of nothing. And the only game that people would point to and say, like, well, they beat Minnesota, and Minnesota's really good. Really? Minnesota was terrible.
Well, Minnesota was one of those that won games, but nobody ever really bought into.
Right.
And it didn't. Really lucky. A lot of games.
Well, and luck or whatever, however you want to call it, they found a way to get it done.
Right. But
at
one point, the Eagles were saying, or the people were saying, the Eagles beat the
it was a big deal.
Yeah, like it was a big deal. And
because we even thought when we blew out the Vikings, we thought it was a big deal.
Oh yeah, well, and because they had a good record, and it was a big deal to beat them, because that made us one step closer to a home field advantage situation, should that have come up, which obviously it didn't. But so it was an important game. All that to say, as the season went along, Jalen Hurts has shown the ability to A, be a freak athlete. I mean, and I've never argued against that, but B, play within what his skill set allows, and then that allows the coaching staff to make him better, him to make the team better. The team plays together and wins. So like I said, I'm glad he didn't win the MVP. But if he would have, I would not have been like, oh, that's terrible. Like,
no, and what was interesting, and I totally disagree with this. This is the voting for the MVP. Jalen Hurts was second, Josh Allen third, Joe Burrow fourth, Justin Jefferson, Nick Bosa, and I totally disagree with this, but Trevor Lawrence got more votes than Micah Parsons. Continue with the awards last night. The offensive player of the year was Justin Jefferson. Didn't have a problem with that. Interesting, the defensive player of the year did not go to Micah Parsons, but it went to Nick Bosa. Led the league in sacks. He won that. Brian Daboll was your coach of the year. I think that could have gone to a lot of other people. I think even though he's in the Super Bowl and maybe have a little more talent, Nick Sirianni could have been in that. I would not have been opposed to seeing Pete Carroll or Dan Campbell, what they've done in their respective cities and franchises this year. Offensive player of the year, again, Justin Jefferson. Bosa winning the defensive player of the year. Brian Daboll, head coach of the year. Geno Smith won the comeback player of the year. And then I told you why I thought we have the right quarterback in Dallas. Winning the Walter Payton Award was Dak Prescott, which is one of the most prestigious awards that they hand out and about what they do to give back. I got home last night to watch kind of the end of the NFL Honors Awards. Kelly Clarkson had a dress on that was, you could tell she was from Burleson, Texas. It had 88, and then the rest of the bottom of the dress just had different Cowboys names. Look it up. Definitely made a fashion statement. But Dak Prescott, and again, we'll look and all the things that we've got going into the offseason. But listening to the story last night of his foundation starting because of his mom, and then the other thing, he had a brother that took his own life in 2020 during COVID, and he started another portion of that foundation of trying to prevent, I think his saying was, the cost of one life to save millions. But I do think you can get in the debate. I think we have the right guy playing quarterback in Dallas.
Well, as we've talked about on the show before, I don't argue with that at all. I mean, as we go to our hypotheticals talking about QBs, you could list QBs that I would rather have on the team than him, as far as like just on a let's go win a football game, but they're not available. There's vacation
spots I would love to go other than X, but I can't afford to go.
Right,
exactly.
Yeah. And so so within the bounds of that, we're not in a la land. We can't do better, and we could do a lot worse. And I think that there's a lot of pressure on him, obviously, to turn it around. But no one's ever questioned, at least that I've heard, his leadership ability and his just qualities as a human, and there's something to be said about that. That being said, the only award that I was disappointed in, just from a fan perspective, was the Micah Parsons not winning Defensive Player of the Year. But even then, when you dig into it, I can understand it. If you watch, which we've watched every play the Cowboys played multiple times, but when you're that level, you see what him being on the field does that makes the whole defense tick and how disruptive he can be against an offense. But this year, he didn't necessarily have all the stats that backed that up. Like he didn't have as many sacks. I think that was more of a nature of just the way that the teams played against him. Bosa obviously is similar in that aspect, but had better like counting stats, I guess. And so I can see why he didn't win, but I was disappointed because I wanted him to win, because I think he's one of the best players in football, and a guy that changes how the other team has to play against you.
Well, but I also think the way people had to block Parsons allowed Armstrong and Ugazawawa and Lawrence and these guys to have good seasons, because now I've got to block Misty with a couple people.
Good luck.
As opposed to just going one-on-one, and now that opens up for Armstrong, because some of those guys became names and you got to know them because of the way he took on more people to be better. So I agree. I thought Micah might have won that, but again, I don't have a problem with Nick Bosa winning.
No,
because he did earn that.
Yeah, he's very good. And like I said, he and Parsons are in that same conversation of those guys that when they line up on, and Aaron Donald's still in that conversation, even though he is getting older. When you line up against those guys, when your team goes against them, you have to set up what you're doing based on how you're attacking that player, which allows for other people on your team to step it up. Now, if you're on the 49ers, like there's some other guys that take a little bit more of that pressure, and so that can help your counting stats, and so I think that's kind of where we're at on that.
The other thing that happened last night, they announced the 2023 class of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Some familiar names. Longtime Dallas Cowboy Chuck Howley, linebacker, got inducted. DeMarcus Ware, thought it was interesting. Jerry Jones, somebody from their respective team in their gold jacket announced who was going to be the next. It was DeMarcus Ware being announced by Jerry Jones, being hugged with a Super Bowl ring that he won with the Denver Broncos. But DeMarcus Ware going in, Rondé Barber, another one that we got to watch play, Joe Kalinko from the Jets. Guys that we got to see, Joe Thomas, who was a great lineman, unfortunately was drafted by the Browns. Darrelle Revis, probably one of the greatest cornerbacks of all time, and a few other names, Ken Riley. And then one for those in the big country that matter, from Pampa, Texas, finally getting in, Zach Thomas. Linebacker, played at Tech, played for Miami. Jimmy Johnson introduced him. But Zach Thomas getting in. So a good class. I think it'll be an entertaining class as far as those being inducted. But, the good thing about the Football Hall of Fame is they don't go in as anybody. In baseball, you go in either as a Giant or you go in as a Red Sox or, Gary Carter. Do you go in as a Met or an Expo? All those things. But the other thing I do want to mention, and I guess we can start making that push now, Darren Woodson, and I know that's a homer, but Darren Woodson deserves to be in the Hall of Fame as a defensive back.
No, I agree with that. And if you get credit for teams that you played on, he's definitely got the bonus there also.
And of the people that of that era and those three Super Bowls, the people that have not been inducted, I think he may be one of the few left. Even though Daryl Johnston was great and did all the things, there's just not a lot of fullbacks getting into the Hall of Fame.
Which that in of itself is an argument that I would like to have that I don't understand.
I don't understand that either.
I think fullbacks,
kickers, fullbacks, whatever position you play, if it's a position on the team and you're the best,
it should be eligible.
And one of the top, Daryl Johnson, you put him in the top at least 5 ever at fullback.
Well,
and so those guys
kicker,
aren't in the Hall of Fame.
And how important kickers are.
Yes, and kickers and punters are the same way. They don't make it to the Hall of Fame, but it's like, you can't win a football game if you don't have one.
Well, like Justin Tucker needs to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Honestly, Adam Vinatieri probably could be a first ballot Hall of Famer. but how they look at kickers is totally different. But again, the Hall of Fame is set for Canton this year for 2023, and there's some Dallas Cowboys involved and a Red Raider. When we come back, we'll start finally looking in. The Super Bowl's coming. It's knocking on the door. Arizona is the place to be this week, and we're going to kick it off with who has the most pressure. Is it the quarterback looking for Super Bowl number 2, or is it the quarterback looking for Super Bowl number 1? And who has the best seat and the most easy seat? Maybe a mama. We'll be back right after this.
Yeah, I want to be Donna